that was the key thing for Rocket. They seem to have just needed time, but now they're starting to really take it to their opponents.
Maxlor gonna hop over and look to take down Power of Evil. Missed the collateral second. That was sick. We're expecting nothing short of very clean play from G2 Esports. This is how they've stayed undefeated for so long. Here, Syncroft just wants to get something. He just wants something, but he can't get it.
This is the best Rocket we've seen in years.
It's calm, it's collected, it is dominating. This is the Unicorns of Love style.
And welcome to the European LCS, coming to you live from Berlin. We're almost at the finish line of the spring split, and with the finals in Hamburg on the horizon, every win matters. Earlier, we saw the fans loading in a lot of the Love Hurts crew. As always, it's always Valentine's Day when the Unicorns of Love are playing and setting up on stage. Well, Andy, you were with me at the desk yesterday. How are you feeling? Excited for the matches?
I'm good. I'm recovering on the back end of a cold, but I'm feeling great. How are you, Ifya?
I'm good. I'm good. You do sound, you know, you got to take care of yourself. The playoffs are coming, so
yes,
we got to be
extremely important. Drink plenty of fluids, ladies and gentlemen.
Everyone actually drink plenty of fluids, a lot of water, and sleep enough.
I'm also here. Yesterday we saw H2K defeat Origin 2-0 to lock a top 2 group spot in Group B.
See, you can't even do it right.
I don't have my glasses on. I don't have my glasses on.
Right. So H2K did beat Origin 2-0 yesterday and locked a top 2 spot in Group B. That's how you do it, by the way. And well, going into playoffs, a lot of questions we had is, you know, what does H2K look like? What do they have to shore up? So, Verius, what were your impressions of the team's performance yesterday?
In my eyes, it seemed that H2K yesterday weren't taking things as seriously as they could have. I think that there were a few noticeable mistakes in their playstyle, but I think it is forgivable given the opponent that they're playing up against, and I don't expect them to be playing like this come playoff time.
Yeah, at the same time, though, we have to wonder if it was a slightly better team than Origin, they would have simply closed out on the Baron play and hit H2K with a defeat. Yes, you can come away from the series saying, you know what, yeah, it was a little close, but in the end we didn't lose. But I'm a little bit worried, especially for their early game. This is 3 weeks in running where Jankos overcommits to a play, you know, wants a bit too much and ends up like dying early or giving away something. And this was a team that was heralded for their first blood gank, still on their early objectives, and they seem very shaky in the early game, especially when it comes to kind of jumping out of a play. You know, they overcommit and they just keep committing.
They keep committing and get that ball rolling. And Syncroft had a great series for OG. He's turning out to be actually quite the shining star on that lineup going into promotion. So we will see what happens there. And in our second series of the day yesterday, Misfits, they swept the Giants 2-0. Though we have kind of similar remarks to their performance. It wasn't as super cut and clean. And we talked to the coach Hussein after, who said, well, yeah, we're going through a bit of a dip and up and down, but that's normal. But you know, they have to shore it up before playoffs. The
important thing is that they're able to climb out of the dip. You have to make sure that your ladder is structurally secure enough to be able to climb out, because if it's not, you're going to end up collapsing and you're not going to meet the expectations that you put on yourself coming into playoffs.
Yeah, it has to be a dip, not a swan dive. But overall, I think for Misfits here, if you look at the roadmap, coming in as a new team, second place in the group, some great late game plays in a couple of weeks, working on that early game, standout players here and there. I think overall they can be happy with their progression so far.
Definitely, the project is developing well, and we'll be following that up. And with their win over Origin, H2K, I said, have secured top 2 in Group B. But to take first place, it is still possible, but they need a little bit of help from Vitality, because the Unicorns of Love secure first place with a win over Vitality, and Splice are locked in third place. Now, 4 matchups remain in the EULCS 2017 Spring Split. The Unicorns of Love to start today with that match versus Vitality, and then G2 versus Rocket. I never thought I'd say it, but I'm super looking forward to this matchup. Is it possible, guys?
It's definitely possible. I think that recently we weren't expecting Rocket to be able to upset Misfits. They get themselves the 2-0. G2, they've been looking strong, but I have a lot of faith that Rocket can get another upset.
It would be quite the story. If Rocket, out of all teams, would break this undefeated streak from G2, I think Rocket management tuned in somewhere and was like, you know what, we started the undefeated streak, we will end it too. So that's definitely good for them.
We'll see what happens. A tall order for ROC, but hey, I believe. But first, this afternoon, the Unicorns, they are back to take on Vitality after defeating Splice on Thursday. A very hype matchup and on all the way to 3 games, but Unicorns of Love outplayed Splice in game 2 and 3 at least. They seem very comfortable heading into playoffs, and they keep probably that first place spot.
It's nice to see from the Unicorns they've been working very hard on improving the early game and being able to get themselves lead, seeing Xerxes playing more aggressively. And again, we're still seeing fantastic team fighting from the Unicorns of Love. Their ability to force fights and take advantage of the weaknesses in Splice's composition was fantastic to see from the line.
Yeah, well, the story we were following this split was like, is this the best kind of performance we've seen from them in the regular split? Definitely yes, and now it's just a question, can they translate it into playoffs?
Yeah, and they're also very proud of, their consecutive playoff appearances every single time, so they're definitely looking to leave a mark here and maybe get more, than just those third-place matches. I think the Unicorns have their eyes set on a final, and they definitely want to get there.
Definitely do. But first, they have to beat Vitality to get their eyes on that first spot. And Vitality, well, they've started to let their hair down a bit since securing their place in the league for summer 2017. They are in that safe spot. Versus H2K, they had a blitzcrank game. They were up 12K at 25 minutes in game 2. So they're definitely a bit more relaxed, and it seems to be working for them.
I love that you can see from this Vitality lineup who was so inactive in the mid game. So, I feel like stressed. When we were watching them, you could feel the nerves. Everybody was so afraid of failure that nobody was actually playing to win, right? And then now we actually get to see this kind of unleashed Vitality, and we see how big of a component stress and pressure is for some of these teams, and why putting in more hours just playing the game may not be the best strategy or reward kind of approach for your coach. You really want to get your players in as stress-free of an environment as you can. And combining that with the fact that they're now playing the Unicorns could make for a great game. So we have on one hand, we have Vitality who no longer have to care and they can play completely unleashed. On the other side, we have Unicorns who have not always cared too much anyways about what people thought were the right champions to play, the right metagame to play in, the right playstyle to approach. So we could get a very spectacular match right now.
I hope so, at least. And they can play spoiler. If they manage to win, then that first place for Unicorns of Love is not yet locked. It depends on the H2K match versus Splice. So we will see what happens. We saw the Unicorns, as said, the Zillion for Hylissang has been in there. They've been having Ivern again for Xerxes, going back to his roots, literally played a bit of Rengar, and it seems to be working out for them, preparing into playoffs.
I want to see a more successful Blitzcrank. I know that he did bring it out last time to not as much expectation as he perhaps would have liked, but I still think that it was an interesting pick. We saw the Swain a few weeks ago against H2K as well. I'm really enjoying the different approaches that Vitality are taking, and I think that when you have two dynamic teams like the Unicorns and Vitality, we are expecting, I think there'll be a lot of new and interesting picks.
Personally, I just want to see Kalista on Steelback, because I think he can actually play the champion too, and if you're laning with Hachani, who has this habit of overextending, and he doesn't want to return on himself. You can become Pokemon Master, get back in your ball, boy, listen to me, and now you can go back out there. If you want to jump in twice, that's your choice, but I think Kalista's the pick for Steelback to solve the Hachani problem.
All right, let's see if it happens. And two of the most adventurous teams in the league meet on the Rift as we send it over